The next speaker is all the way from Japan, and that is something unique, with in the development of medicine. Because of the digitalization process, the Internet of Things is a norm now. Majority of things that we do, traditional things don't apply because we are in a fast track kind of life. Therefore, we have today Dr. Yuri. Yes, Yuri, Yuta, sorry. Yuta Iwamoto. And she's a public health specialist, specializing in it. But now public health, remember, they are going on to emergency medicine and disaster management. There's something that's unique. And he's going to talk to us on his experiences in developing this Internet of Things, digitalization demonstration project in emergency medicine at a tertiary care hospital in Malaysia. He's been working here on his master's PhD project. PhD project. So, the floor is yours, Dr.
Thank you for introduction, Dr. Ali. My name is Yuta. I'm an emergency and critical care physician who is in charge of this overseas project. So we are running this digitalization project. This is what we call the digitalization of emergency medicine with the 6 tertiary level hospitals. So our company, we are TXP Medical. This is a Japanese startup company focusing on emergency medicine, meaning that we are digitalizing emergency medicine, especially for ambulance services and services in emergency department. So our core technologies, medical-related national language program and medical AI programs, using that we are providing emergency department information system, for ambulance services and emergency rooms. And then we are collecting and structuring that medical data, and then we are using those data for other businesses, for pharmaceutical companies, and also the policy-making processes. So our solutions basically in overseas consist of 2 solutions. One is for the pre-hospital setting, mainly for the ambulance services, what we call NSER Mobile. This is an AI-based smartphone application. So in Japan, we are traditionally doing the medical recording with a paper. So it's very, very manual way, for which we are digitalizing using our application to streamline the operation for paramedics. And another solution is Next Stage ER. This is the Emergency Department Information System, which is quite similar to EMR, Electronic Medical Record, Hospital Information System. So this is the smartphone version of EMR, let's say. So this is the information flow through pre-hospital setting to in-hospital. Meaning what I explained, NSER Mobile, this is an AI-based smartphone application. So using a voice input and the OCR technologies, so that we are digitalizing the medical data onto a smartphone application, then paramedics can easily and speedily collect the patient information using the application. Then those collected patient data can be transferred to web dashboard. Then using the NSER, Next Stage ER, this is a smartphone application for in-hospital emergency room. Then they can take that information through QR code. Then all the process from pre-hospital to in-hospital, this is a digitalized way. So this is actual scene where in the ambulances, they are collecting the patient information. So they only have to tap to get the patient information, and also using OCR, optical characteristic recognition function, they can take a picture of this vital signs monitor, then they can get the text data of vital signs. So they don't have to record onto the papers using OCR. So this is one study which was done in one city, Kamakura City in Japan, with local government ambulance services. So this is a time between when the paramedics started to find the hospital to refer until the time when they finally found the hospital to refer. So this process for paramedics took 3 minutes and a half on average before installing our solution. After installation of our application, so they can avoid unnecessary paper recording process and also the telephone call process, with which this time was reduced by 22% up to 2 minutes and 40s using our solution. So in Japan, the number of use of this NSER mobile is drastically increasing recently, mainly for public ambulances, because in Japan, the ambulance services are provided by the local government. So, and also hospital also owns ambulance, so we are providing the services for both. Then it's drastically increasing these days, which covers 7.9 million population already. So this is the interface of next stage ER. This is application for emergency department. So this is quite similarly structured by EMR, HIS, Hospital Information System. It's structured by the chief complaint, present medical history, vital signs, past medical history. And it's designed that the hospital staff can easily record the patient information using multiple selections. And also there is another function that if you record this kind of information, it's automatically collected and structured. So if you write diabetes, automatically this diabetes is coded with ICD-10. Then it can be used as a structured text data. So you can do the clinical researches and surveys very easily because it's structured text data. So this is a satisfaction survey of NSER. So we questioned for one hospital in Japan how is the use of NSER. So the medical recording process gets faster or not, because as I said, using NSER, hospital staff can easily record the patient information without the process with paper. So almost 80% of staff answered this medical recording process gets faster, and especially for young doctors, because they have huge amount of paperwork. So almost 100% of staff answered it gets faster. And also, as I said, the data, as you do the clinical activity, the patient data, medical data is automatically collected and structured. So that's why those data can be used for patient data search, for clinical researches and surveys. Then we questioned, is it useful for patient data search? So almost 90% of staff answered it's useful. So in Japan, we are focusing on the very high volume center, which receives so many cases referred by ambulances. Meaning that we are focusing on high volume secondary level center and tertiary level center. We have almost 450 hospitals, which has a capacity. Among them, we already installed our system in 63 hospitals. Then this means that for university hospitals and emergency care centers, we cover 30% approximately. This is another solution provided by us. This is also a smartphone, using the smartphone web application. So this is for patients, especially for walk-in patients, ambulatory patients. So they can enter the basic information, demographic information, and the very basic medical information by themselves onto smartphone. So hospital staff, nurses, and the paramedics don't have to collect those information manually, because patients enter those information by themselves. Then those information can be transformed into QR code. then using NSER, smartphone application, we can also get those information. Meaning we can avoid unnecessary paperwork using this self-assessment system for patients. So in Japan, we are developing and disseminating our service in that way. And also we are envisioning to distribute our services in ASEAN countries mainly. So such as Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. We are already running the project with Indonesia, and we are planning so with Vietnam as well. And as I said, in Malaysia, we are already running a project with 6 hospitals. Then in all the countries, mainly this emergency medicine, the paper recording and manual process is still there, for which we are digitalizing the process, and we are collecting the structured data. Using that, we are improving the medical recording process. So this is a pre-hospital system in Malaysia. As you may be aware, that so mainly that this pre-hospital system is covered by MECC, Medical Emergency Collaborating Center. Then almost 70% of our patients who are coming to tertiary level hospitals are covered by MECC. So during this pilot projects with 6 hospitals, we decided to collaborate with hospital and MECC. Then we are digitalizing this paper and the telephone-based communication in order to transmit the patient information to hospital. So this is the list of the hospitals we collaborate with. So USM, UMMC, UKM, and SASMEC, the hospitals, university hospitals, and also Hospital Selayan and HTAA, hospitals under MOH. So we are already running the project with university hospitals, and we are going to start next year with hospitals under MOH as well. All of the hospitals has so many patients, emergency patients, referred by ambulances, and also walk-in patients. So geographically speaking, that's we are running the projects in KL and other area, Pahang, and Kota Baru as well. So in most of the hospitals, as you know, there are huge amount of paper recording process in pre-hospital and in hospital, which we are trying to digitalize. And also, even if you need to get this compiled data for clinical researches and surveys, the hospital staff needs to compile in a very manual way using the spreadsheet. For that, those data can be taken using NSER very easily and in a very fast way. So this is a product overview of our solution in Malaysia. So NSER Mobile, this is a smartphone application for ambulance services. So this is mainly used for severe and moderate patients who cannot record their information by themselves. So these are supposed to be recorded by paramedics mainly in ambulance services, more precisely with MECC staff. Then we also have a self-assessment system, which I explained. This is mainly for walk-in patients because they are mild patients, so they can record, they can enter their information by themselves. Both of which the information can be gathered onto NSER. This is a smartphone application which is going to be used in ER, emergency department. So all the information from pre-hospital, the walk-in patients and the emergency patient information can be collected onto NSER. Then those information can be linked with the hospital information system if the hospital has HIS already. So we can provide this package of digitalized emergency medicine for hospitals. Then hospital staff can save the time for unnecessary paper recording process and manual process. So that's all. So we would like to get the feedback from your side. We are running the project with 6 hospitals, and also after this pilot project, we would like to distribute our solutions for mainly for other tertiary level hospitals. So we would like to get feedback from your side. If you are interested in this project, please don't hesitate to reach to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yuta. Yeah, so you have heard from Dr. Yuta, how the Internet of Things have come into a system, into hospital management itself. Because one of the things that we find in our Ministry of Health system is data collection. We want to do a lot of research, but because most of our documentation is not digitalized, and we have got a big, much delay getting data input and how fast is the delivery of the knowledge. Because at the end, the data will give us and tell us how efficient we are going to be in the future. So this is excellent thing. I just like one question. Does your system that you have, can it connect to the big data that is held within the hospital, or is it a standalone system?
So our solution is focusing on emergency medicine in our ambulance services and emergency room, basically. But it can be, in Japan, it's already linked with the hospital information system to get the bigger data from HIS.
Okay, very good. So that's how it need to be. Many, they sell this kind of data and they are just independent, which is not that good. Once it goes into the system, then the whole track of the patient from the home, from the incident, right down to discharge can be tracked down. Very good, excellent. Yeah. Any questions from the floor? Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Doctor, actually, my question is, with current technologies, people are talking about personal data being sold, will be hacked. So I would like to ask, what level of your safety features in terms of cannot be hacked? And because it's current trend is even a mobile company's data can be hacked. So you're talking about personal data on people's health, a lot of other personal particulars definitely will be stored. So what would be the level of security or cyber security that your software or your system providing, or you are totally depending on the, say for example in Malaysia, you're putting all the, I would say the weight to the government or our authority?
Okay, thank you for the question. Basically, to mitigate the risk of this leakage of personal information, we are doing the operation so that the patient information cannot be kept in the devices. So the data is going to be kept in the server. Then server is guaranteed by Amazon Web Services and Google Web Services. So basically, those information can be guaranteed. The quality of the security is guaranteed by them. And also, we are trying to mitigate the risk through reducing the risk for not saving the patient information onto the devices as well.
Because once we have the data within the big data of the hospital, then the whole of the firewall security systems come in. So to answer this question in a very simple, any digital data cannot be 100% guaranteed. Banks have been whacked, the governments have been whacked, the national security has been whacked by these guys. Even Putin himself has been whacked, by this thing, So in that way, it is within our limitations, because as mentioned, the digitalization is always a constant change. So in that way then, we have got to be cautious, and the risks, of course, will be there. But I'm sure within the contract, they will give a high priority for data protection here. Thank you. Any questions on Internet of Things, on recording systems within the hospital setting, as well as within ambulance? Yes. It's from Korea.
Good afternoon. So it's interesting to know that this system is developed by Japan and it's going to do a pilot project in Malaysia. How about the ownership of the data? Because all the data will be saved in the server. So the ownership of the data, because this will involve a lot of privacy or this.
Thank you for the question. Actually, the data's ownership is with hospitals. Then, but we are going to do the collaborative research project with hospitals. So we are going to get the authorization to use the data from the hospitals. So, but without the authorization, we cannot use the patient information, patient data. So it's with the hospitals.
Any questions? Any questions? Yes, come on. One last question. Yes, come.
Let's say that the data of a hospital gets leaked. Oh, my name is Roshwin. I'm a student from Malaysia University, medical student. So I have a question. Let's say that the data of a hospital, of all the patient records, that gets leaked to the public or by a ransomware attack. What legal obligation do the hospitals have for the patients? Do they have to pay for damages for the patients? Or do they have any kind of legal obligation?
You mean from hospital side? Yes, of course. From the hospital side, they also have a legal obligation to guarantee save the patient information.
Normally, it'll be within the contract, you know. So one of the problems, as mentioned just now, yeah, it is we guarantee as much as possible patients' data will be protected under the law of the country. We've got a Data Protection Act in Malaysia, and more so with a lot of countries. They have the act. Therefore, if anything were to go wrong, then the legal system, you know, goes according to the Data Protection Act. In fact, if you want, all companies have got to support it, and they pay a fees, you know, for this Protection Act, and the company needs to take all actions possible to protect as much as it can. Now, so in that way, then, can the client sue us? Of course, can. It's his right. You know, but how much is it being protected? That we need to prove. Yeah, especially in this digitalized world, you know, no country, no way can we give 101% guarantee. Yeah, because of all this, what do you call that? The younger generation call this dashboard players and all that. Yes, yeah. So that's one of the challenges actually. Okay. With that last question, you can ask personally how it is done with Dr. Yuri. And thank you so much